We are delighted to welcome back this morning Reverend Jane Mauldin to our pulpit once again. Since her graduation from Unitarian Universalist Seminary, she keeps saying many years ago, it's not that many years ago, Reverend Mauldin has served 4 UU congregations, including 11 years as founding minister of the North Shore UU congregation. She also most recently served as chaplain of Truro Infirmary for 12 years and continues her pastoral care work by providing pastoral care support to our members here and our friends by request. So if anybody ever needs pastoral care, you can get in touch with us and we'll get in touch with Reverend Jane. Reverend Mauldin is the mother of 3, grandmother of 4, and enjoys being with friends, old and new.
Good morning.
Good morning.
These words are by Karen Samuelson. The world is both burning and blooming. You get the bad news and the sunrise in the same day. You cry over the headlines, then you laugh at a baby wearing a hat shaped like a bear. This is the dual citizenship of being alive, rage and reverence, grief and grace. You are allowed to feel both. You are allowed to scream and still notice how good the soup is. You don't have to choose. Let it all in. Please join me in singing the words for lighting the chalice, written in your order of service.
I forgot we have some announcements this morning. We have Jolie and then Jim, and then I have a quick announcement.
Good morning. This is some good news. This is the end of endowment month, and I want to thank everyone who made contributions. And I want to give y'all a quick synopsis of some of the grants that we were able to give out this year. The big grant went to the sign, which we hope to see in front of the church end of the month, maybe beginning of April, hopefully. But then we had some money left over that we could still grant out. So very quickly, we are going to grant some money to a program. I'm not going to try to say this in French, but it's a Haitian school. Henry McCarthy and his wife help support a Haitian school. And so we're going to give them some money for that, for supplies for the school. Also, a child care collective called UGIMA. I don't know much about that program. Nicholas suggested that as a grant. But, you know, they take care of babies. And Rosa, we were able to give some funds to Rosa. Also, the Community Fridge Project. And I know Jim and Michelle can give y'all more information about that if you have questions. And the Solidarity Choir, which again is Nicholas's choir. And those funds will help them raise even more funds for the projects that they support. Okay, thank y'all again.
More good news. This is a card from Reverend Jim Vanderwill, who was a minister here for many years, as you know. Dear Jim and CCUU, thanks for the card. Feeling dramatically better today than I had for several weeks. Hope this improvement will continue. It was a delight to receive cards from many at CCUU in the New Orleans UU community. Hope to see y'all sometime here in 2026. May love and blessings be with y'all. I'll post it on our board.
I know we're very excited about our new sign out front. Becca has worked very hard on getting that done for us. There are a lot of people here who do things behind the scenes. Yeah. And the last announcement is next Saturday, the 28th, is our first monthly community fridge project. We're going to be cooking some food and preparing some food, some like brown bag lunches and things for the community fridges in our area for people who are experiencing food insecurity. I'm really excited about this project. There's a sign-up list that I'll put back in the fellowship hall after church. Even if you don't sign up, if you feel like coming next Saturday at 12:30 in the fellowship hall, we'll be putting the meals together, and then we've got some people who will be delivering those to the community fridges. So please join us if you can.
There is so much happening in this small but mighty congregation. I am so impressed. Every time I show up about once a month, I am so impressed with what you all are doing in your community, in your metro area. I'm very proud to be in your pulpit this morning, especially in these, shall we say, trying times. So this morning, the theme is music of liberation, specifically the music that is being sung in the streets of Minneapolis and Chicago and New York and elsewhere, the songs that are being created and shared, the songs of historical civil rights and peace and justice movements that are being reclaimed, in some ways recast, with new verses, like This Little Light of Mine that we just sang. Every song in this worship service today, either I've seen on videos being sung on the streets of Minneapolis or in large gatherings in Minneapolis, or are coming from a songbook or couple of songbooks created and published online for people organizing for peace and justice in that city and many others. So you may be singing different words, but some of them are also songs you know from the past, like This Land Is Your Land. Again, we are singing in solidarity with people across our nation and beyond who are casting these songs as ways of engaging community and being in community and empowering one another to do the work that needs to be done. We're not alone in this. This is a historical moment, but there have been other historical moments in which music has been a central core part of freedom and liberation. And I'll say more about that in the sermon. But one example is the nation of Estonia. And when the USSR began to crumble, Estonians used song to demand independence. In 1988, they gathered 300,000 strong, a third of the population of that small nation, at a song festival grounds outside their capital of Tallinn. And they sang patriotic songs, pulled out of the closet those old folk costumes their grandmothers had worn. And the next year, the people of Latvia, Lithuania, and Estonia held hands to make a Baltic chain 400 miles from Vilnius, Lithuania, to Riga, Latvia, to Tallinn, Estonia, and sang across that 400 miles. It wasn't long after what they called their singing revolution, a peaceful and nonviolent movement, that they achieved their freedom from Russia. So we join Estonia and many other movements in singing this morning. The next song that we will sing is Ain't Gonna Let Nobody Turn Me Round. Now the words are in your order of, are in the pink sheet, some on the front, some on the back. For clarity's sake, we're on the verses, you see there, it says, ain't gonna let no racism turn me round. Well, our mighty choir director says, wait, that's a double negative, and that's not saying what we wanted to say. So we're gonna leave out the no's and sing, ain't gonna let nobody turn me round. Now, by the way, some of you may know this is a freedom song that became an American civil rights era anthem after Ralph Abernathy introduced it in 1962 at a meeting of the Mount Zion Baptist Church in Albany, Georgia, during a time of mass arrests and demonstrations. It was sung during civil rights demonstrations in the United States during the Memphis sanitation strike in 1987, and it is now being sung throughout our country in our time for us. So please stand in body or spirit. And by the way, if you're not a singer, if you don't really get singing, but hopefully you get music, let the voices around you fill your spirit, feel what's going on here, and participate in your heart. So please stand in body or spirit as we sing, Ain't Gonna Let Nobody Turn Me Round. Please be seated. The first reading is by journalist Margaret Killjoy, who wrote these words on January 21st of this year, just 4 weeks ago. And what she describes happening continues to happen in Minneapolis right now. Killjoy writes, I came to Minneapolis to report on what's going on. And one of the main questions I showed up with is, Just what is the scale of the resistance? After all, we're all used to the news calling Portland, Oregon a war zone or whatever, when it's just some protests in one part of town. I got in late last night. First thing this morning, I saw cars following an ICE vehicle down the street, honking at it. Later, we didn't drive more than 3 blocks before we found people defending a childcare facility. The idea that people have to defend a childcare facility, let that sink in. Half the street corners around here have people from every walk of life, including Republicans, standing guard to watch for suspicious vehicles, which are reported to a robust and entirely decentralized network that tracks ICE vehicles and mobilizes responders. I have been actively involved in protest movements for 24 years. I have never seen anything approaching this scale. Minneapolis is not accepting what's happening here. ICE, I'm going to read her words. ICE fucking murdered a woman for participating in this. And all that did is bring out more people from more walks of life. It's genuinely a leaderless or leaderful movement, decentralized in a way that the state is absolutely unequipped to handle. There are a few basic skills involved, and so people teach each other these skills, and people are collectively refining them. Before I came, I asked a local friend if the cold, it's going to be -20 or so in the coming days, would stop people from coming out. No, we'll be there. It's ICE who can't handle it. Today, I talked with a 76-year-old who's been standing in the cold for hours, guarding her neighbors. I was getting kind of chilly, even in the new winter gear I bought for this trip. And I live in the goddamn mountains myself. She didn't even have a hat on. Another person put it, we're Minnesotans. We're excited to get our real winter gear out of the box for the year. He was an audio engineer whose kid went to school in the area. No way in hell was he going to let anyone come for kids on his watch. Another friend put it to me like this: ICE has made the classic Nazi mistake. They've invaded a winter people in the winter. But when I asked an organizer what they wanted to see out of press coverage, they told me they wanted people to see the beautiful things they are building here and not just the worst stories of the worst of ICE's crimes. She concludes, what people are doing here is beautiful. It's a tragic beauty, but a real one. Thus ends the reading. The hymn is in your turquoise hymn book. It is number 1021, Lean on Me. Please stand in body or spirit as you are able.
If we
goodness, what a gift. Thank you.
Now is our sacred time of joys and sorrows. If you're online, you may write your joys and sorrows in the comments section to be read aloud. In person, you may write them on one of the cards to be passed out by our greeters. Please remain seated as we sing hymn number 210, Wade in the Water.
In the gray book.
A sorrow from an unknown person. So sorry that Trump ended environmental protections. Yes. A joy to hear of Jim Vanderweel's recovery. A sorrow from Red for my friend and neighbor Laura White, who died suddenly yesterday from a heart attack. Pray for her fantastic spirit and her 2 children and family. As Reverend Jane pointed out, we'd like to light a candle for Jesse Jackson, a huge figure in social justice, a huge loss to this country and the world. Yes.
He gets 2 candles and 5 or 10 or really.
Yes, yes. And we'll light 2 more candles, one for the joys still bubbling up, too new to share, and one for the sorrows that we cannot yet put into words. Know that we hold you in our hearts. And now let's pause for a moment of silence, recognizing the joys and sorrows of those in our community, spoken and unspoken.
The second reading is a blessing for trying to watch when the news is heavy. And I don't know the author, but their Instagram account is In Our Midst Liturgies. Blessed are you who care deeply for others, those who shed a tear even for people you do not know, those who watch with the volume muted, repeating to yourselves, "Not again," as the stories run across the screen. Blessed are you, those who feel numb, those who have seen so much violence and heard so much hatred that the tears no longer come. Those who go about washing dishes and wiping counters while headlines blare in the background, the horrific working itself into the hum of the everyday. Blessed are you, the overwhelmed, those who flip the channel and cannot bring yourself to return, those who say there is no such thing as other people's children, feeling crushed by the weight that we were never meant to bear in full. For love does not turn away in the face of injustice. Even when our eyes demand a rest, love holds us, rocks us, remains with us as we wade through the empathy of our human existence. Love holds what we cannot withstand with a strength we cannot muster, whispering all along the way, "Blessed are the peacemakers." Thus ends the reading. I hope we're meant to be. Yes. It is almost impossible for me to believe what is happening in Minneapolis and in other cities and towns around our country right now. Law-abiding legal immigrants, newer immigrants, and American citizens are being abducted on city streets or out of their homes, sent to prisons in faraway states, including our own. Children are shipped to concentration camps in Texas and elsewhere. I can't believe I'm saying that sentence in a pulpit. Children are shipped to concentration camps in Texas and elsewhere. There is no recognition of basic human rights long established by our courts throughout many years. I just cannot wrap my head around it. It can't possibly be true, can it? Yes, it is true. There are too many eyewitness accounts, too many videos taken by people like you and me who witness these atrocities and document them for the internet. Many hundreds of videos and eyewitness accounts. There is no denying that what we are experiencing as a nation violates everything that many, maybe most of us, learned in our earliest school days about our nation and its rule of law and balance of powers. I can find no connection between what so many of us believed or hoped to believe about our country and what is being perpetrated by racist, gun-toting cowards hired and paid by our government to terrorize our neighbors. And yet, we are not helpless. No matter our age, our physical or mental abilities, our economic resources, the limits on our time and energy, we are not helpless. There is and will be something every one of us can do. We are called by the highest ideals of our lives. We each can and must do something. When we can, how we can. Much of what I have been learning about current events comes not so much from national news sources. Many of our main TV and newspaper sources seem to have been threatened by or bought out by government or economic powers. Much of what I and many of you have been learning comes from alternative sources online, from eyewitness accounts, and from journalists whose corporate entities have not bowed down to these threats. Through these sources, I have gained not only information, but also some real hope, some deep hope for how this might all turn out. One German citizen named K.O. Sommer recently wrote to us, "Dear American friends, this thread is some advice from Germany. As a person living in a country that has gone through 2 dictatorships in the last century, surrounded by other countries who have, and who has plenty of family with firsthand experience, there is something I'd like to share with you. This is not a sprint, it's a marathon. You won't solve this situation with one big bang. Many of you feel helpless now, don't know what to do. That's okay. Don't let that stop you. If you don't have physical ability to bring to the table, there is something else you can do. Defund, fund, organize, build networks and community, prepare. Be prepared for when good moments come, and they will. You will recognize when moments arise that can gather momentum. Be prepared for those. Save energy on the way there. You need to be the water that washes the stone. We're all in this together globally. Your role is to be the ones that are inside of the empire. All of us are affected by this, and most of us can't get inside at this point. You are important where you are, and if you prepare, you will recognize moments in which you can help. And it doesn't always need to be a big thing. Be a water drop of many water drops. That's less scary as well than thinking of it like having to be the revolution. None of us can solve this alone. Signed, Love and Solidarity from Germany. None of us can solve this alone, but we can each be a water drop on the stone. I'll bet that was the thinking in Minnesota a few weeks ago when a singing movement organized that has been inspired by a group called Otpor, a Serbian civil resistance movement that overthrew dictator Slobodan Milosevic in the year 2000. Otpor members were regularly arrested and beaten by police, after which they would show up to the police stations and officers' houses chanting, "You may not join us today, but you can join us tomorrow." In the final hours of their revolution, hundreds of thousands of people across Serbia marched on Belgrade. Milosevic ordered the police and military to fire on massive crowds of protesters, and they refused. They've been hearing that chant. They were done being on the wrong side of history. Singing resistance in our nation has grown to many thousands of people in Minnesota and beyond. For example, recently, a group of 2,000 singers in Minneapolis in the streets of hotels where ICE officers were staying, and in 10-degree, anybody lived up north? I've lived in Nebraska, I've lived in Chicago. Do you know what 10 degrees feels like? They were outside in 10-degree weather at night for hours outside of the hotels where ICE people were staying. And they sang to the hotel room windows, "It's okay to change your mind. Show us your courage. Leave this behind." I'll spare trying to sing it to you a cappella, but that's what they sang. Singing resistance has had song sessions in many churches and synagogues in Minnesota and in other states. as young and old folks of many cultures learn the songs that they are taking into the streets. According to CNN, the Twin Cities chapter of Singing Resistance began its street-level performances 4 days after Nicole Good, a mom driving her kid to school, was killed by ICE agents. In less than a week, 600 people came out to sing. One anonymous organizer sang to Anderson Cooper in a CNN broadcast, "I am not afraid. I am not afraid. I will live for liberation because I know what I was made." She said to him, "Song is a vehicle for us to grieve. It's a vehicle for us to feel rage. It's a vehicle for us to strengthen ourselves. That song, I am not afraid, that I sang, we're not singing it because we're actually not afraid. It is terrifying what's happening. It's a way to gather our courage. It's a way to gather our courage." After all, consider how human beings have encouraged each other over thousands of years. Written language is very new in human evolution, and the ability for large numbers of folks to read and write is very new in our human story. For thousands of years, human meaning was mostly communicated through the generations, not through written words, but through visual and auditory media. For our ancestors, drawings of animals on a cave wall or songs and chants shared around a fire were some of the only available ways for deep meanings to be shared within community until very recent times. This is our human heritage. Music is powerful. It hits something deep and powerful when it is shared. Right now in our time, this resource is a gift to help give us strength. Music, going back to ancient times, is a rock and a source of connection to people who have shared similar struggles. Germany, Croatia, Tallinn, Latvia, Estonia. Music has been a source of connection to people in the past, around the world, and to people right here in this room, and to many other people right now, hundreds, thousands of miles away. The Singing Resistance movement has released a free digital songbook with new songs and earlier songs recast for our time. 2 of the songs we are singing together today, "Ain't Gonna Let Nobody Turn Me Round" and "Hold On," which we will sing later, are from that songbook. The songbook creators write, "We are building a mass movement of singers to protect and care for our communities in the face of rising authoritarianism. We are grounded in love, nonviolence, and solidarity. In the context of intense and escalating violence toward our communities and federal invasions of our cities and towns, we sing because song is an antidote to fear. Song helps us connect to each other, and through song, we can name and protect what we hold sacred. Name and protect what we hold sacred." The group seems rooted entirely in love and acceptance, not hate or contempt. While anger is present in their songs, the driving force behind each tune is love. They write, "Through song, we can refuse to obey what authoritarianism wants us to do. Get small, numb out, and forget. Instead, we will mobilize our communities in public. We will feel and we will tell the truth of the violence and of the resistance. Through our actions, we seek to embody and represent that which we are fighting for. Beloved communities of strong ties coming together in defense of life, where we are all loved and cared for. Much of the leadership and inspiration for the singing movement comes obviously from historic Black freedom and justice movements. Surely you remember how young freedom riders in the 60s, mostly Black young people, sang to encourage one another in jail. How men and women sang as they crossed the Edmund Pettus Bridge in Selma in 1965. And how songs created by Black men and women have inspired numerous freedom and liberation movements for centuries. Wade in the water, and Ain't Gonna Let Nobody Turn Me Round come to us from that heritage, and are some of the songs being sung in embattled streets today. The Reverend Bernice King, the daughter of the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., had powerful words to share about the murder of Alex Pretty, the ICU nurse who was gunned down at point-blank range in Minneapolis when trying to protect another person from ICE agents. Reverend King wrote, "My father warned us, when evil men plot, good men must plan. When evil men burn and bomb, good men must build and bind. What we are witnessing now," she wrote, "what we are witnessing now, masked raids, people taken without due process, vigilante, Gestapo, and slave patrol-like tactics, normalized under the color of law, is a moral crisis. It is a moral crisis, like none probably any of us have experienced before. And I say that as a child of a man who was interrogated by the House Un-American Activities Committee in the 1950s. I speak as one who protested the Vietnam War, who was arrested on a SAC Air Force Base in Nebraska, who learned of the internment of thousands of Japanese Americans during the Second World War, and much more. You know, many of you recall those events too. But this is a moral crisis unlike any of us have experienced before. Columnist Will Bunch of the Philadelphia Inquirer, and this is the Will Bunch who interviewed me and wrote about me this past December following an ICE raid in Kenner, to which I had responded with voice and whistle. Will Bunch has been in Minneapolis for a few weeks, documenting what he sees happening there. He recently wrote, "It's become impossible to watch the courage of whistleblowing everyday citizens putting their lives on the line to fight for the neighbors they don't even know, or to see the utter depravity of top government officials slandering innocent murder victims while their bodies are still warm, and not conclude, yes, there is good and evil in this world. But millions of Americans are still desperate to affirm that they love their neighbor." In the shock and sorrow over the Minneapolis murders, he said, "This is something we can all cling to." Bunch concludes, "I don't know what lies ahead on the bumpy road, or how many more Alex Prettys or Renee Goods will have to die before the positive moral force that finally awoke in Minneapolis can fully reclaim America. What a writer. And thanks to the Philadelphia Inquirer for publishing his words. It will be a time that positive moral force that finally awoke in Minneapolis can finally reclaim America. It's tough to think about right now, but what's clear is this, he wrote. The time for choosing is today. Which side are you on? Which side are you on? You may not be flying to Minneapolis tomorrow, and I don't recommend it without some serious winter clothes. You may feel overwhelmed and helpless, but you are not. Every phone call you make to a legislator, every donation you make to ACLU or a Minneapolis group supporting neighbors in hiding, every community meeting you attend to learn about and support justice in our community, every letter to the editor you write, every song that you sing is a drop of water in the great stream. And so we sing as our forebears have sung, ain't gonna let nobody turn me round. I'm gonna keep on a-walking, keep on a-talking, marching up to freedom land. Amen. Amen. The offertory music that we will sing is Hold On. And you don't have it there because it's a very simple chant. This song is being sung by large groups of people in Minneapolis and beyond, in groups walking through neighborhoods where many immigrants live, Somali, Hispanic, to say, we are here, we are with you, you are not alone. So the choir will sing it first, and then we will sing it 3 times as the offering is accepted.
And the words are, hold on, my dear ones, here comes the dawn.
Go forth this day, knowing you matter, that what you do matters, that the children and the grandchildren to come will know what you do. Hold on, my dear ones. Here comes the dawn. The closing song is This Land Is Your Land. It's on your pink sheet. We will sing the chorus at the beginning and at the end, but not between the verses. Please stand and body your spirit as you are able, and please remain standing as we extinguish the chalice. We extinguish the chalice here that it might glow gently in our hearts. May it light your path as you leave this place. May it guide your way until we are together again. Amen.
Please join us for refreshments in the fellowship hall.